Hello and welcome to World of Tanks with me, Cricketwes. Today I'm going to be doing a review of this tank, the Oni, the Japanese Tier 7 heavy tank. It's an unusual tank for starters. As you can see, it's quite big, and it's also very well armoured. So let's have a look at the collision model. The upper front plate is 175mm thick, but angled quite well, not angled, sloped. So with this being a tier 7 tank, 175mm, not many tier 7s can get through that anyway if it was flat on, but the sloping gives this an effective arm of a maximum of about 205, and on the lower plate it's over 230. So yeah, these bits are only 150mm, so if you can shoot them, even most tier 7s won't be able to pen that with 180 to 190mm on either side of those. The mini turrets, again 150mm of armour, but they are sloped quite well, and yeah, most tier 7s won't get through that, apart from this little patch here which is 155mm, which is flat on, quite near to the gun mantlets of these mini turrets, or pretty much where the little rivets are there. Just in case you're wondering what website I'm using this time, because Tank Inspector is not updating, or it's not working properly. I don't know why. The developers might be having some problems, so I'm using worldoftanks.gg or tanks.gg to do all this. It's basically an online version of Tank Inspector, that's it. Side armour 70mm, but you want to really be shooting this strip above the tracks, because that is spaced armour, 35 and 40mm along the track. Still, most tanks can get through that. And the rear is quite interesting, it's 150mm, so even off the rear, if you angle it well, some tier 7 mediums can't get through that, like the Comet for example. Will have trouble difficulty penning this thing from the rear. Turret armour, it's quite alright actually. The gun mantlet, or near the gun mantlet, is 200mm thick, with the gun mantlet itself being quite strong. Some tanks will be able to get through there, some tier 8 and 9 tanks will be able to pen the gun mantlet. Turret cheeks, sort of, 150mm but angled and sloped quite well, so not many tanks can get through that, apart from some tier 9s and some tank destroyers. Cupola, most tanks, most tier 7s like the IS T29, they probably won't have the accuracy to snipe that, but some might. The Black Prince for example, that's got a reasonably accurate gun. Even the Challenger, that crappy old tank, will be able to snipe this Cupola if they can't penetrate the mini turrets or load the gold, load the skill. But apart from that, the turret is 150mm all round, and I think we've talked enough about the armour, so let's get into the gun depression. It's actually not too bad. It's 10 degrees at the front, apart from the mini turrets where it is between 9 and 7 I think, or just 9. But overall the gun depression on this is 10 degrees all around, but this being quite a tall tank, if I get onto here, this being quite a tall tank, then still 10 degrees of gun depression isn't that much, to be fair. I mean, if you got, say, a T-34-85 along the side or the front of the tank, with your 10 degrees of gun depression, you'll still only just be able to hit his cupolas. With my equipment loadout of ventilation lights out of the gun rammer and improved laying drive, which are my recommended equipment setup, and if you disagree with that, you can go to vbaddict.com. That's another very useful site, and then you can just search for tanks, see how well other people are doing in them, and see what equipment people are using and unicums are using, which is the main one you want to be focusing on, because obviously unicums more often than not know what they're doing. So my equipment setup, and the Top Gun, if I think it's equipped, yeah, Top Gun, that one, Wait, hang on. That one. There we go. 1955.12 damage per minute, which is alright. It's not fantastic. I mean, with this equipment set up in 100% crew, I think the reload is about 10 seconds. You might be able to get it just under if you're using Bros in Arms or something like that. With the 105mm gun, you have 190mm penetration with standard armor piercing and 330 damage. With APCR, no, it's not APCR, it's actually premium AP, 215mm of penetration, which isn't that much of an improvement, to be honest, and you still won't be able to pen E75, for example, from the front with premium AP on this tank, unless you snipe the cupola, obviously. And 53mm HE penetration for 430 average damage, which isn't too bad when you're shooting some light tanks, if you've got the patience to reload and wait 10 seconds to just shoot at a light tank with HE. Yeah, reload 10.13 seconds, you might be able to get it just under if you're using Brothers in Arms. Aim time 2.82 with this equipment. I think normally it's about 3 seconds, which is not great at all, but compared to other Japanese heavies it's not too bad. Accuracy 0.39, again typical Japanese heavy tank accuracy. View range with this equipment is 388, but without it's 380. Camo, no values for that. Health 1550, same as a fully upgraded IS-3, which is a lot, and 50 more than a Tiger tank. So it's very healthy. Armour we've already talked about, 25 km an hour, forward speed 10 reverse, power to weight ratio not that good, being a 100-ton tank, 102-ton tank. Mind you, it does have like a 1200 horsepower engine, which isn't too bad. And yeah, 18-second traverse speed, and I think the turret traverses at 18 degrees per second as well. So details, we've pretty much talked about all of that. It does carry 100 shells, so what I do with this, I think I fire 85 armor piercing, 10 premium armor piercing, and 5 high explosive, just because it's got the ammo for it. I mean, if it's got 100 shells, then yeah, why not? Just spend a few premium shells. You're probably not going to use them anyway. Movement, we've pretty much talked about all that. No, turret traverses at 19.2 degrees per second. Armor, we've pretty much talked about. Weight, 105,500 kilograms, which is 105 tons, give or take. That's the load capacity. Total weight with this setup, 101 tons. So if there's anything that you can ram, just ram it, because more often than not you are going to win the engagement. And one other thing, you could use this gun, the 150mm howitzer Type 96, the gun that you get off the OI, the derp gun, pretty much. And you can use this as well. I mean, I've had some fun games doing this, because with HE, if I load that up, it is pretty much just a tier 7 KV2, that's all this is, except much more well armoured, excuse me, and much heavier, and has a lot more health. So this thing, with the derp gun in higher tier games, you're still not going to do too much damage, but at least you're going to do some damage to higher tier tanks than you might not have done with the 105mm gun. And who knows, you might do more damage with the derp gun to higher tier tanks than the 330 that you would do with the 105. Hope you're keeping up with me so far. But the grind on this, you will already have the 105mm, the stock 105mm unlocked, and the 150mm howitzer from the OI, and so same with the engine and the radio. I think this top engine here that you get off the OI, and maybe the OI experimental, is used all the way up to tier 9, which is kind of useful, but I expect the tier 9 tank does not have a good power to weight ratio at all. But I think that's about it. That's about all we can talk about now. So without further ado, let's get into the replays. And the first replay I have for you today takes place on Himmelsdorf. and I'm using the 105mm gun. In fact, both replays I'm going to be using the 105mm gun because I couldn't find a replay of me playing the Oni with the 150mm gun. And in my opinion, the 105mm gun is definitely the better option. A bit of a replay bug there. I don't know why that didn't start straight away, but hey. I just realised that Type 59 has got a triple mark. I didn't realise that when I was playing. But yeah, 25 kilometers an hour speed limit, so I'm just going to speed this up a bit. Going to the banana road slash, I don't know, I can't remember the other name for it. I keep calling it the banana road. Here on Himmelsdorf, as I've said. Getting hull down because this tank is quite good hull down with 150 mils turret armour, sloped and angled, or just angled. Tier 7 tanks are going to find it very hard to pen that, and even pen the front of this tank really. For some reason our box tank team killed our Speerpanzer 1C, I don't know why. Because of reasons, that's why. And for some reason we have had no opposition. Me and this Type 58 and the T29 behind on the banana road. I thought the T34 might go down here, but no. There's a Black Prince, far on the move, because why not? Yellow, he can't pen me unless he fires gold ammo or hits my weak spots. He can't pen the lower plate. Track him again. I mean, this gun from that range is not really going to miss. And yeah, T34-85, I think there's an ARL up there. There is an ARL. Fire, not really aimed, that's probably more often than not going to miss. I think in this game I had a mission. I can't remember what mission, but I think I did it. Because this is a very good tank with doing heavy tank missions in, especially the damage block ones, because if you get top tier, or even tier 8 games like this, then most tier 6s and most tier 7s will not be able to penetrate you. I'm trying to snipe the cupola of the 34-85 there. Accuracy of this gun, 0.39. It's a little bit, what's the word? I can't think of the word. Aim for the T34-85, kill the ARL. Japanese accuracy for you. ARL firing HE, I don't really blame him to be honest, but if he does have the top 90mm gun, and that's got 212mm of penetration, so he could pair me quite easily with AP, if he's using the top gun. If he's not, then tough luck, HE is the best he's got. Aim for a bit, 320 average damage, not average damage, it's 330 average damage into 34-85, a little bit of a low roll, but I don't really care to be honest. Angling the rear of the tank, because of course it is 150mm thick, so I thought I might be able to bounce a couple of shots from that Black Prince, but not to be. SU-100Y over there kills the T-34-85, and I'll just push down quite happily over here. Bounce off the KV-3 from that angle, yeah, okay, fair enough. KV-3 is reasonably tough from the front if it's angled well, and if it's side scraping it's reasonably good as well. But from that angle that's always pen, and that was quite lucky to hit actually. And penetrate, that looked as if it went into the bottom part of his tracks. And this one much more well aimed, and a high roll, 378, and I'm already up to 2000 damage. And I think I must have got that KV-3's Amarak or loader, because that did take him quite a while to fire again. And one more shot, if I high roll, is he going to get another shot? Right, someone else shot him, easy kill. And that's kill number 2, and up to 2500 damage. And this Tiger 2, if you can tell by the health, he's using the stock turret, and 10 degrees of gun depression, and still only just manages to penetrate or fire into the turret of the Tiger 2. And take my time to aim this one into the turret cheeks of the Tiger 2. Stock turret, that's all it's going to pen. Can't remember what my mission was, but it might have been destroy 2 heavies a tier higher. I can't remember. But that is kill number 3, and I'm up to just under 3100 damage. And the team winning quite convincingly here. The Speerpanzer on the enemy team just picked up the 12T to sort of even things up, except not really, because we're going to win this, and we're going to win it well. Apologies if my voice is going, I don't know what's happening to my voice. Just speed things up here because I don't meet another tank for a while, or felt like a while in game, because this tank is quite slow. 25 kilometers an hour, as I've already said. And this shot on the Cromwell B, barely aimed and it hits. And that was lucky, I needed that shot to hit, because otherwise the Sperrpanzer 1C would have had me easily. He bounces off the rear of my tank, and he's going to outmaneuver me all day long, and I probably won't have the gun depression over the rear, but luckily he drives behind me. I weigh 100 tons, he weighs about 20, and I ram him. So that's that game. So as you might have been able to tell, that was my ace tanker game, or one of my ace tanker games in the ONE. Quite a few tokens which aren't too important. Bruiser I think is on there, fire effect is on there, shell proof is on there, and of course steel wall and high caliber. Moving on to the team scores, I came top on XP from of both teams, with just shy of 1400, 5 kills and 3.3k damage done, with just under 1000 damage more than the next player on my team. Detailed report now, shots fired 15, 13 direct hits and 12 penetration, so pretty good hit and penetration ratio. Yeah, that's a word. Penetration ratio there. 3.3k damage, which we've already talked about. 2.6k damage blocked by armour. You expect to block that amount of damage in this tank, especially when you're top tier, or there's a lot of tier 7 and tier 6 tanks around. Not much resistance damage, I didn't really do much spotting or tracking that game, and a healthy profit of just shy of 40,000 credits with a premium again. And here is the second replay I have for you, again in the ONE, obviously, and again with a 105mm as I said earlier. This time it's on Mountain Pass and I'm top tier, so much fun shall be had in this tank. Again I'll speed it up because this thing is quite slow. Not much to talk about for the moment, but any second now. I said now, there we go. T1 heavy. I almost said T57 heavy. Totally different tanks. Yeah, snipe him, he's sitting there. He really shouldn't be, not in a tier 5 tank in this matchup. Aiming on the MT25, take a blind fire at the T1 heavy, he's moved. So I carry on. And you may notice on the map, no one is coming with me as of yet, apart from that Cromwell, who's quite nice. He helped me out a little bit. T29 also coming this way, similar to last match that is, with a T29 coming to help me at the back. So I carry on pushing up because I don't really care, I'm top tier and I'm in this tank. Aim a little bit, should have aimed for much longer. I knew that those two tanks had fired, so I could have afforded to take another second to aim. Fully aim that shot, that goes just below the gunman of the KV3, but he's in a KV3, I'm in an ONE, and he fires HE. Poor him. And through the tracks, exactly where I wanted it. From that range it's not really going to miss this gun. And now I can't really blame him for doing this, but yeah, firing gold ammo, I can't blame him at all. Not with this tank, 175mm frontal armour, angled and sloped, so yeah, he's going to find it quite difficult. Get a nice little engine fire there, and then a low roll after it to compensate. Now this IS, he puts a shot into me, and then he carries on driving. Just not to do. I track the KV3 there somehow. Push over, get that rock behind me, between me and that IS. You see, he still wants to shoot at me, but he's still got that T29 and Cromwell to deal with. Finish off the KV3. Turn round, get the mountain between me and the KV1S and KV1. Put a shot into the IS. Somewhat unfortunate to set him on fire, as that shot went straight into the engine or thereabouts. And yeah, I just gave zero. I didn't care at this point at all, because these two, they cannot pen me no matter what they do, and even firing HE they're not doing anything. So yeah, I just carried on driving, ran that KV1S for about 100-150, and sniped his cupola. Now you may notice we are losing 5-8, so at this moment it wasn't looking very good for this team. But we'll turn that around in a minute. T29 finishes off the KV1, slight high roll for him, but it works. RNGesus giveth and RNGesus taketh away. Being capped by, not by that A44, by something else, I can't remember what. On the move at the T1 heavy, that's very unlikely to hit, as it didn't. Yeah, T1 heavy fired, he's not going to pen me, not in a million years, not with AP or with that gun. Fully aim and take him out. If you're wondering what sound mods I'm using, it's the Reincarnation sound mods, I think. All my mods will be in the description, the names of them, not the links to them, because that'll just take up the whole description. T3485, easy target, 329 damage. And I'm really wanting this Cromwell, who's come up to us, he's right there, to go back and reset the base, because he's a fast tank, he's easily the fastest on the team. So yeah, and for some reason the enemy team stops capping. If they cap, they might have won this game. But they chose not to. And this KV85, I don't really know what he's doing. He knows there's 3 tanks here, and he drives straight out in front of my gun. And that's the last shot I fire for this game. All the other tanks are all the way across the other side of the map. The KV1 is over there, the Jackson will turn up over to be there, and the SU100 will turn up over there somewhere. So yeah, just speed this up all the way. Not too fast to give you an epileptic fit. Yeah, there's a Jackson and he's dead. So yeah, 3,500 damage and 5 kills. And like the last replay, another ace tanker and similar set of tokens there, and same medals as well, steel wall and high caliber. Team scores now, again as before, top on experience earned with less than 1300, less than before because I was shooting at tier 7 and lower tier tanks, unlike the previous game, despite doing about 200 more damage. Same 5 kills, well not the same tanks obviously, but 5 kills. Detailed report, 17 shots fired, 15 direct hits and 12 penetrations, so the same amount of penetrations as last time, but 200 more damage. Where did that 200 damage come from? That fire on the KV3, if you remember that. 2.4k damage blocked, so less damage blocked. KV3 and KV1S and KV1, they were all firing HE, so I'm somewhat surprised about that. And yeah, profit of 40,000, which for some reason you can't see. So what do I think about this tank? I believe that this tank, the Oni, is one of the best tier 7 heavies out there. It's got brilliant armour, especially when top tier or even in tier 8 games. It's got a very nice gun despite the lack of accuracy. But the DPM, it's alright, and also you've got that 100 tons to ram stuff as well. So if you enjoyed this video, you can give it a like, you can favourite it, you can subscribe to my channel for more World of Tanks content as well as other games. You can send your own replays in to me if you want them to be featured on my channel to the emails popping up on screen now, and we're also in the video description. So hope you enjoyed watching, and I'll see you on the next one.